Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good day, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, and guten Tag, everyone. We're here in Berlin, Germany, and with great excitement, I finally get this flight started here. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you here, and I'm super happy to finally get this started. Today we will be doing a historical recreation flight. This is the first new journey for the series, and after many weeks, I finally get this plan started. All the start was a discussion back all the way in October. Me and a fellow community member of the community, Nights Up, came up with this Berlin to Beijing flight, and it's finally a reality. Iceman33 says, "Great to see you. Thanks for following with me 2 days ago." Nightsep, hey, guten Tag, Nightsep, good to see you. Yes, we finally got this flight started, and I am super stoked for this new journey. And it is dark. It is actually night, believe it or not. I set this to midnight. So we're going to do some nighttime flying here. So kind of it's something simple. So I have this little nav thing called Little Nav Map, and um, I set this to East USA, which is what I did. But on this little nav map, I'm hoping it shows up properly. Here it is. For our journey today, we're doing leg one of the journey. Now, the main flight is going to take us from Berlin to Beijing. Let me show you, before we get started with today's flight plan, let me show you what the full flight plan would look like for our journey. So this will be spread out through multiple different stages. I believe 14 different flight stages for many weeks. We'll be flying here from Tempelhof, Germany. We'll be going through Gdansk into Kaliningrad, which is back in the day was called Königsberg. Then we'll be flying through Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, and most of the journey will fly through all of Russia, for much of Russia, with a brief stint in Königsberg. Then we'll be heading to China, and that would be the final destination. That journey will take us around 5,000 nautical miles. But for today, we're going to be flying to Kaliningrad, which is located in its own oblast in Russia. We'll also be flying a bit over Gdansk, which is located in Poland. So we'll be doing that. Deutschland, Sergeant Staff, great to see you. So now I know a lot of you wondering, Viper, why are you taking the Ju-52? Well, let me tell you the real reason for that. We're taking the Ju-52 because in the original flight, they took this plane, the Younker's G-24, and just like the Ju-52, this was a tri-engine plane. It's just that this thing is considerably faster. So that's why we took it. It was based off the original plane. Now, the airport we're at here today is going to be at Tempelhof Airport, and if you want to know where I got the scenery, here it is. Now, the reason I had to get that scenery was because I think Sim Update 6, they removed Tempelhof as one of the airports you could do it. So this mod will let you fix it and bring back Tempelhof back in its former glory. It's a beautiful airport, and it's one of my favorites. So let me get this Ju-52 started. Now, it's going to be a little more tricky because this is at night. So there's a flashlight, so let me get the checklist. Let's see. We're going to check this on. Battery on. Pretty simple. Idle throttles. Okay, good. The fuel supply's off. Good. Parking brake is set. Turn on. I hear good. Indicators off. Okay, we got to turn the pitot heat off. And then all the free flight controls, they're free and correct. Check, check. So I got the route for those who haven't got it yet. Now, if you don't have the scenery for the route, you can take off at either Tegel, Berlin Tegel, or Berlin Brandenburg airports, which is EDDT for Tegel and EDDB for Berlin Brandenburg. So, but before we get going though, there's that. On. Shot valve is on. We open up the level pump. That's required to start the other two engines. Just here. Yep. Cool. Pretty easy. There's that. We should get. Now let's see if I can do this without turning the checklist. Let's see if I can complete the rest of this without the checklist. I know this isn't exactly the easiest point in the whole world. Okay, back up. Okay. Let me go ahead and fix this back up. Turn on fuel pump. There. Engine number 2, start. There. That's start. Fuel pump's completed. There you go. There you go. And there you go. We just got to turn these two off. And that should be the engine starts. Boom. That should take care of the engine. We gotta turn on the taxi lights. And then before we get going, let me turn on one more. There's one more set of lights that I do need to turn on, by the way. Since we are flying at night, I need to turn on. Turn those on. Turn the strobe lights, beacon lights, and nav lights. All those need to be on. Yep, everything's working good. Now, before we do this, I'm going to load in some passengers for this journey. And I named several passengers. I named 15 of the 16 passengers. I'll put 2 more. So let me go ahead and put those in. 3. Let me go ahead and do those. 200 pounds. Each of these passengers has got a different name. Hey, stumbled across. Good to see you. I'm just going in and loading some passengers up. Because I'm simulating that this is a Lufthansa flight. I know they've flown this solo, but I want to do something a bit different and it brings the whole Lufthansa feel to it. So I'm gonna. But actually, you know what? I don't really need the passengers for this flight, considering since they flew this solo, I forgot. So let me, hold on for a sec. There. Okay, now let's get to the runway. So for the runway, we're going to need to be going to. We could take off from runway. I'm going to take off from runway 06 left. I see there's night Zep here. And before you guys want to know, Knightsep here was a humongous help for this journey. I would not be doing it without him. So, naturally, this is... Let's get rolling here. We need to get back to the runway. So we'll definitely have some very interesting stuff as well. Now we're gonna go take off here from that. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything sorted. Fuel is good. We should have full fuel. Now for the journey, we're gonna be heading. I need to go ahead and set my heading thing on my gyro pilot. Now the reason, so we're gonna go ahead and set this for the trip to Kongsberg to Gdansk. We need to go 51 degrees. So I need to change the heading. 30 should get 679. There. Now the reason I set the heading bug is because, well, if we set the heading bug, we should be able to connect it to the gyro pilot. So we should be pretty good to go. We're finally taking off. Now I'm not going to go really, really high. We need to get 2,000 feet should be more than enough for the trip, the first trip of the journey. And we're off. Doubled across. Good to see you here. Kahari was the last recent follower. I wanted to thank Kaharia. So I'm just going to go in circle and wait for everyone else to get in the air. But yeah, we're in Berlin, Germany. Very, very historic place. I also will have some music playing. This is copyright-free music. So I'll be able to play some for the trip. This is going to be quite a long one. Okay, everyone else should be in the air. Just let me stabilize and return back. Just need to set this. Now I just need to set this back in the right gyro pilot frequency. Now we are ready to put the gyro pilot on. And now we need to get to the autopilot. So let me go ahead and well, I think this is still a little low. So I need to raise the trim. Okay. And we're gonna put the heading. There you go. Sorry, I can't fly with you today, but maybe next time I'll lurk. No worries, Iceman. Thank you for coming to my stream today. No worries. Okay, got everything back. So I'm ready to pull off some slideshow stuff. So we're gonna at least try to get to trim to 2,000 feet. So now I'm ready to talk about my slideshow here. So this is going to continually be updated through the entire journey. So this is the 1926 Berlin to Peking flight. This was flown by Lufthansa back by actually Lufthansa when they were known as Deutsche Lufthansa back in 1926. So the plane they took for that journey was the Junkers G-24. This was the real predecessor to the Ju-52. This was the predecessor of it. It was introduced in 1925 as an all-metal tri-engine plane, and this was primarily invented by famed aviation engineer Hugo Junkers, one of the real iconic um, aviation industry leaders during Germany during that time. This plane was well known for being the one that flew the night routes between Berlin to Königsberg, which is now Kaliningrad, and it's been on more than quite a few journeys. That plane was powered by three Junkers L5 six-cylinder engines that produce 310 horsepower each. This thing has a top speed of 110 knots. It could cruise up to 92 knots speed. It had a range of 360 nautical miles. It had a surface zone of 13,000 feet. Hey, Kozak can play with a party of 26? Holy crap! Hey, everyone! Good to see all of you. You guys came in here just in time. Welcome. Dougal McTavish, good to see you. Captain Arash. Well, guys, this is the inaugural leg of a new series I'm going to be doing. This is historical flights. I'm covering the 1926 Berlin to Beijing flight from Lufthansa, and I'm in the classic Junkers Ju-52. This is a great time. Yeah, people came in the raid. Thank you. Good to see everyone here. So I was just talking about the plane they took for the journey. Hey, Night Zep with a follow. Thank you, man. But seriously, I'm going to give a shout to Night Zep. Night Zep, you're the one who made all of this possible. I wouldn't be doing any of this without you. I may have got the information for all the stuff for the flight, but you're the one who gave me all the details for it. So, thank you. So this was produced, 124 planes were produced and were primarily used by Deutsche Lufthansa, which was the Lufthansa branch during that time in Germany. Now, this plane had a crew too. It can carry 14 passengers. So it's quite a very interesting plane, stumbled across. And this is kind of the plane they took for the journey. And it's the predecessor to the Ju-52, which is the plane we picked. The Junkers Ju-52, for those who don't know, one of the most iconic planes of the 1930s. It was one of the main airliners of that era, alongside the Douglas DC-3 and the Boeing 247. This bad boy here, powered by three BMW 192 engines that produce 725 horsepower each. This bad boy was also unique because it was made from coagulated duraluminum, which is basically a portmanteau of durable aluminum. This bad boy can have a max cruise speed of 133 knots. It can go to 19,000 feet, which is extremely high for that time, and it has a pretty good range of 539 nautical miles. But in the sim, this thing can go up to 700 nautical miles. This thing also carries 17 passengers alongside a crew of 2 and a flight engineer as well. Give this guy a follow. He works hard. Thanks, Dougal. But no, I do work very, very hard. Yep, I do work very hard to get this. Like I said, I could easily just pick up and plan and fly, but that's not who I am. I want to be that kind of person. So then we talked about Deutsche Lufthansa. So this was actually the airline that was Lufthansa during that time. Now, this airline was founded in 1926, and it was coincided with the lifting of the restrictions of commercial air operations by the Treaty of Versailles. And for those who don't know, the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919 that signified the end of World War I. It was quite a controversial treaty because, well, considering that also led to Nazi Germany, that controversy was a big deal back in Germany. Now, its main airport was, of course, the iconic Berlin-Tempelhof Airport, one of the classic classic airports in the 1920s. And by the time World War II started, it had a major network of many European cities, not just in Germany, but around Europe, including Paris, Amsterdam, Moscow, Warsaw, and Rome. Now, Deutsche Lufthansa was one of the first airlines to operate night flights. And guess what? We're going to be flying one of these night flights from Berlin to Königsberg. And so we're going to be doing that sort of route. And in fact, the Berlin Königsberg route was one of the first successful night routes used by a lot of pilots to this day. Now, by the end of World War II, however, the airline was dissolved and all aircraft were seized in there. But Deutsche Lufthansa built the way for German commercial aviation for years to come. Definitely, and the reason they had to be dissolved was because of, well, World War II happened, by the way. But in addition to the Ju-52 and the G-24, they operated other planes for their. They had different mail planes. They had one of the seaplanes as well. So definitely a wide variety of different planes. I mean, for sure, they have so many different hubs. And I'm not just talking about Paris, but they can go as far east as, let's say, Tallinn and even Moscow. They even have fleets all the way in Moscow and Istanbul. So definitely very, very important civil aviation stuff. Now, the guy who ordered this flight was a guy named Dr. Robert Noss. Now, during World War I, he served as a commander for the Luftwaffe during his time as a pilot. And then after the war, he became part of Dutch Lufthansa as one of its major executives. And he stayed that way until the World War II, where he was part of the Luftwaffe training new pilots. And he was a reserve for that until he was captured at the end of World War II. And then after the war, Robert Noss became one of the experts that helped Germany rearm itself during the Cold War. So definitely a very interesting guy to talk about, but I didn't want to do a slideshow. I try to be very sensitive around, the Nazi sort of thing. Be sensitive. So we just took off here from Berlin, Germany. We just took off from Tempelhof. So some information about Tempelhof for you guys that don't know. Berlin Tempelhof is one of the most iconic airports of the pre-World War II era in all of Europe, behind Croydon and Paris Le Bourget. Croydon, we know, is where Alison Johnson did her Amy Johnson flight. It started here in Croydon. And then Paris Le Bourget is one of the only airports that are still open. Of the three airports, Paris Le Bourget is the only one that's still open. Now, during the mid-30s, by the Nazis, they rebuilt Tempelhof and made it a major air aviation hub. And definitely one of the most iconic features of Tempelhof was its huge Kennedy-style roof. It's definitely a very iconic plane. It's definitely a very iconic airport, to say for the least. As well. Now, during the Berlin airlift, this was one of the main airports that was the center of the Berlin airlift, which allowed food and other important areas to be delivered from the west to Berlin. Now, it was still used all the way until October 23rd, 2008, where it was closed. It was still a controversial move by many people still to this day, and has since been turned into a park and has hosted many kinds of events and stuff held here in Tempelhof. Did you get Jefferson's airport? Yes, I did, Dougal. I did get his airport. I still have it. I just haven't got the chance to fly off of Croydon. But Jefferson did an amazing job. And by the way, if you guys haven't got any of Jefferson 2001 stuff, I highly recommend you get Jefferson 2001's scenery. I haven't got his Falcon Field, but I have heard nothing but amazing stuff from his Falcon Field. And now he's working on his second payware airport, Kalamazoo Battle Creek International, and that is looking amazing so far. It looks absolutely incredible. So yes, I did get his airport, and it's amazing. So then we took off. So now Robert Noss chronicled his journey here in the book called Am Großflugzeug nach Peking, which is literally translated to "In a Giant Plane to Beijing." Basically, that's what the German translation is. Yeah, it basically says here, I want to make sure if I got it right. It says, in a big plane to Beijing. That's basically what the translation stuff. In this book, I want to give credit here to Knights Up. Knights Up was the one who helped me get all these pictures and such. Mm, what this thing chronicles is it chronicles the entire journey. So Robin Noss, and the journey was undertaken by two different pilots from Dutch Lufthansa, and their journey took all the way for many different stops here. And this was the plane used. I forgot to not change the tail number to D903. I'm going to be changing that for the next flight because the tail number on that one is D Hall. So I need to change the tail number to the proper one. That's the only thing I forgot to do. But this book here has made stuff. There's the front cover on it on the far left. And then there's the index about the author who wrote it. Now, these two are interesting. So the bottom of the right one is one of the planes used, D903. This was one of the two planes they took for the journey. The other plane had the tail designation of D901. This was the other plane used for that journey. And the picture on the top of that one, this guy here, it's all the different crew members and everyone who's been worked on the two planes. So definitely a very interesting thing to say the least. It is a really historic moment for aviation for Germany. Knightsepp said Grossflugzeug was the term used for passenger planes back then. Yep. German's a very interesting language, and it's definitely got a lot of different terms for that, for sure. Goblin Zeus, I have the Amazing Works, all the Amazing Works. Yeah, I still need to get his Falcon Field. So, now a lot of you have been asking, why did they exactly do this trip in the first place? Well, the simple reason they did, there's a couple different reasons for this. But I have two main reasons for this, and this is from what I remembered back when I met with Knightsepp. Hold on one second. Hey, Captain Seppi, good to see you, Captain Seppi. I hope things have been going well for you. I know things have been pretty interesting for the past week or so, but great to see you. I finally got this journey started. So why did they do this trip? Two main reasons. First, they wanted to explore a possibility of a faster route from Europe to Asia without having to go through much of Africa. Previously, when people did air routes from Europe to Asia, they have to go through Africa or the Middle East to get there. So they may think of a different route to get there. They have to think of something faster to get through without having to go through all of Africa and potentially even the Middle East. But here's the second and probably far more practical reason. Because of the Treaty of Versailles that was written back in 1919, Democratic Germany wasn't really friendly towards France and Britain. I mean, to be fair, if you were German people and you had to suffer through the Weimar Republic and all the stuff going on, you have every reason to not blame it. So, unusually during that time, Germany had good relations with the Soviets, despite being very different politically. They actually had friendly relations, and as a result, they actually had a good relationship with it, and the relationship was good enough to let Lufthansa fly through the interior of the entire USSR. Which was a really fascinating reason, and that was something when Knightsepp said that, I was genuinely surprised by it, and I want to investigate even more for it. So that's a really interesting reason to even do this flight. So this was the supposed route they took. This is what they planned the route to take. The way Viperstrike is able to memorize this and not just read out, seriously impressive. Thank you, Dougal. Like I said, I want to learn all this, and this is from my memory. So the supposed route they were taking was they did the route from Berlin to Königsberg. Then they were supposed to take that to Smolensk, Russia, through Moscow, then Kazan. Then they had an interesting route deviation. They flew from Kazan. They flew over the city known as Kungur and then flew to Kurgan. That was the far left picture. Now, the middle one is going to be, then once you get to Kungur, fly to Omsk, then to Barbinsk, then they fly to Novosibirsk, then Krasnoyarsk, Nizhnoorodisk, and then Irkutsk is actually one of the other routes. And then from there, they flew to Jischia. Then they flew all the way to Manchuria until the place of Charbon. Then to Mukden in China, and then finally to Peking, which is now Beijing. So definitely, that was around 5,000 nautical miles. However, from what I've gotten from 9/7, some of the notes, that they had some difficulties doing that journey. And this is some of the notes for it. I'll probably go over why that doesn't happen for each of the stages. So that's just the general thing we're doing. So we flew out of Berlin, Germany. Now, this is the place we flew out. So Berlin is both the capital and largest city in all of Germany. First documented in the 13th century. Berlin is a major powerhouse of culture, politics, media, and science of the German world. Now, Berlin is home to many iconic landmarks. They included the Brandenburg Gate, the Reichstag, and the Berlin Television Tower. And by the way, the Berlin Television Tower is one of the tallest buildings of all of Germany. And Berlin's home to many iconic people, include the legendary military general and Prussian leader Frederick the Great, Comrade Zeus, one of the iconic people who invented one of the first modern inventors of the modern computer, and legendary ice skater and one of the greatest figure skaters of all time, Katharina Witt. Now, back in the day, though, Berlin was once divided by the Berlin Wall from 1945 until 1990, when Ronald Reagan did his famous speech in '88. He said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." But Berlin has had an extremely long history, obviously. During the old days, Berlin was the capital of all Prussia and such. It was massive. And one of the other facts about Berlin is that this place here, now the symbol of the city is actually the bear, and that's because "Burr" back in Old German it means bear. Definitely a very iconic part. So we get to now modern Germany. Now the German name for Germany is Deutschland. Yeah, yes, which is weird. French it's Allemagne. Italian it's Alemania. But for Germany it's Deutschland. Now Germany is Europe's second most populous country and has the largest economy in the entire continent. Only Russia has more people than Germany. Now, Germanic tribes have settled here since ancient times. But modern day unified Germany didn't exactly happen until 1871, when it was united by Prussia to form the German Empire. Germany's had a really interesting history because before the unified Germany, much of the German states were in individual city-states, and they were bound together by something called the Holy Roman Empire. But that lasted all the way until 1804 with Napoleon. And then Germany had to go through a few confederations until 1871 when they finally unified. Germany's had a very tumultuous history, but despite all of that, Germany has really shown time to time that they can get through adversity and become a very powerful country. Now, modern-day Germany consisted of 16 constituent states, and it's called Länder, with Berlin being the largest of all of those as well. But the largest region, with Berlin being the largest city, but the largest region of modern-day Germany is actually the North Rhine region, with 17 million people, followed by Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg completing the top three. Now, some interesting facts about one of the interesting facts I point out here is that Germany's national anthem is called Deutschlandlied. Now this anthem is very unique, as the first two anthems are not allowed to be sung. It's a very taboo subject because that was the anthem used by the Nazis during that time. You will notice that we are all over Berlin. Berlin is a very cut off capital because a lot of the Easterners were lost in World War II. Yep. That is exactly correct. Yep, we're already in Poland now. Definitely a very interesting flight over Poland. Yep, that's exactly correct. So, in fact, for Germany's anthem, only the third stanza is allowed to be used. And there have been a few times some of the people have accidentally sung the first stance of it, and that is a very controversial. The Alamans were a Celtic tribe and region in Germany. Correct. And then this leads me to part two. So Germany has a very, very rich culture, and that's because of the separation of independent German states. German culture, for one region, Germany would be very different from a lot of other regions of Germany, and this is reflected by all sorts of things: music, cuisine, cultural festivals, and all of that stuff does so about modern Germany. Now, Germany has been historically been referred to as Das Land der Dichter und Denker, meaning the land of poets and authors, which is what it's called. And of course, Germans also well known, like Dougal said, beer. In fact, they have a whole festival dedicated to beer called Oktoberfest, which is one of Germany's proud traditions. And German cuisine is definitely extremely varied as well. And who can forget music, because Germany was the birthplace of Bach and Beethoven. All those are very powerful music. Cuisine is just as varied depending on what area of Germany as well. And of course, Germany is also a powerhouse in football. In fact, Germany is the second most successful football team in the entire world in terms of World Cup victories, only behind Brazil, if you count both the unified Germany and East and West Germany. And during the Olympics, they have the third most Olympic medals ever for any country, only behind the United States and Russia, which is extremely impressive for Germany. Most people would expect Germany to be that as well. Germany is in addition to football, Germany, another sport that's very popular is motorsports. I mean, it makes sense when you have car brands like Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and Porsche, all major car companies in Germany as well. So yeah, definitely a very interesting thing to talk about modern Germany at least. So definitely a very cool thing I do want to mention. Now we're going to Poland, actually. So we're now in Poland. Now, Poland has the fifth largest population in the European Union with 38.5 million people. And the capital is located in Warsaw. I want to do a full flight in Poland to check out the place about Poland as well. Poland has a very rich history because not only do Polish human activity has been around for thousands of years in Polish soil, but the statehood of modern Poland can be traced all the way back to 966 AD with the Kingdom of Poland. Now, Poland historically has been a very tumultuous history, just as much as Germany, if not more so. For much of the Middle Ages, Poland was a kingdom during that time. Then, starting in 1569 until in the 1790s, Poland actually was in a personal union with the Kingdom of Lithuania and formed the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. That nation was one of the powers of Central and Eastern Europe during that time, culminating in one of the great moments in military history, the Siege of Vienna. When the winged hussars arrived, they turned the tide, sung by the legendary metal band Sabaton, and literally saved Vienna from the Ottoman Turks. Unfortunately, due to ineffectiveness of the government, Poland would have to go through multiple partitions during the 1790s by Prussia, the Russian Empire, and Austria. And for 123 years, Poland would not be an independent state until after the end of the First World War. And it was kind of short-lived, however, because World War II happened and Poland was basically screwed again by both Russia and Germany, part of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And then for much of the Cold War era, Poland was communist, and then Poland was eventually returned back to be a democracy after the Solidarity movement. And now Poland's one of the most powerful economies in the EU. In fact, they're the fifth most powerful economy in the entire EU, behind Germany, France, Italy. I believe the fourth one, if I remember correctly, is either Spain or that. But yeah, Poland would have the fifth most powerful economy in the EU, which is extremely impressive from a post-Warsaw Pact country. But yeah, it's impressive. Poland has an extremely unique character in it due to all the different geography and influence from many regions. You have Central European influence from Germany, Czechoslovakia, and especially Hungarian influence on that, but also Eastern Europe with Russia, Ukraine, and what was once the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And it's reflected through many cultural fields of science and culture. And of course, there are many iconic Poles. Some of the most important ones include Nicholas Copernicus, who discovered his theory about the sun being the center of the earth. How about the famous scientist Marie Curie, the only one who's won the Nobel Prize in two different fields? She discovered polonium and radion, two very important radioactive elements. And finally, one of the more recent ones, John Paul II was once the Pope of the Vatican, and his visit to Poland really did change the country a lot. He had a massive impact on his native Poland. So yeah, Poland, very, very, very rich country. Lots and lots of different stuff too. I know Warsaw to Gdansk would be epic. I know. I'm really hoping that after the world update to Australia, I'm really begging that the Visegrad countries of Poland, Hungary, Czechia, and Slovakia get a world update. I would love to see what they do with all sorts of the Polish stuff. Poland has treated appallingly over many centuries. I know. They were getting treated bad. Yeah, Poland's always been treated bad. It was treated pretty badly, especially during the partitions and such. And of course, who could forget the Holocaust as well? The Holocaust was really, really bad for Poland. In fact, not only did most of Poland's Jews die in that conflict, and I don't want to get talked about, but 90% of Poland's Jews died in that conflict, and consider Poland had the largest populations of Europe's Jewish population. But it wasn't just the fact that Poland's Jews were just killed. In addition to the Polish Jews, 3 million more Poles were killed just by being Polish, not even being Jewish in the first place, but by being Poles. So yeah, it was a horrible tragedy for the Polish people, and I think it's very unfair to do that, especially considering how badly they've been treated. Marie Curie is now in the pantheon of France, where great men and women are honored. Yep. And back in the day, Goblin Zeus, when she named one of the elements polonium, this was quite a political controversy back in the day, because back in that day, Poland wasn't exactly a sovereign nation because of the partitions. But yeah, Marie Curie made a huge addition to the people of Poland. So I think this is definitely very interesting to bring at. So I do have some notes for today. I know Nightset provided me these notes. So we did have to take off from Berlin Tempelhof at midnight on July 4th, 1926. So back then there were the navigation lights. I didn't see the navigation lights back then. I think they might have removed them now. Now, historically, it's been quite rainy, if you know what I mean. Which is what you see right now on the windshield. So because of the bad weather and the clouds, they had to use a gyropilot, which is in the Ju-52. It's this. Right here is the autopilot on the Ju-52. So they had to actually use the autopilot in this to control it. And in order to actually use the gyropilot properly, they also had a second compass on the navigation table on the cabin. So right in the back over here, they had a separate navigation thing with a second compass to make sure they were doing the right direction on their right. So definitely very interesting to get there. This was just some of the notes. Former East Prussia, which we were flying over most today, was given to Poland after the war because Stalin wanted to keep the area he had taken in the east. Yep, that's exactly correct. I believe that was one of the treaties that was actually signed that was proposed during the Yalta Conference back in the day. Oh yes, there are some interesting movies about Marie Curie. Yeah, Marie Curie has a really interesting personality, and I recommend you check out some of the diaries and documentaries about her. Very, very, very interesting person. And I did have to cover her quite a bit in my science class, but Marie Curie absolutely is a big deal. Yeah, Poland I think is really a really interesting country to say the least, and I'm glad that I'm glad we get to find some different places here today. I know I wish it wasn't at night with rain. I would have loved to see the natural beauty of modern Poland. So some interesting facts about modern Poland. So modern Poland has had a very interesting. There's some interesting facts about Poland's stuff. So Poland has had a lot of different traditions in there, but one of the most interesting things about Polish traditions is there's been a lot of Polish traditions that are now being accepted in throughout the rest of the world that originated here in Poland. For example, during Easter time. During Easter in Poland, they actually what they did was actually painted a bunch of eggs in the egg basket. And that was a big deal because this is what the modern Easter egg tradition was set here in Poland. And they were called eggs for Holy Sunday. And those eggs were painted and placed in decorated baskets that were previously blessed by clergymen. And this became such a popular tradition that the modern Easter egg thing actually came around during that time. Pretty cool as well. Poland's also got a lot of very famous music, including that of Frederick Chopin, one of the great classical composers of his time, as well as currently one of the most popular musics to this day is disco polo, which is truly uniquely Polish, for sure, as well. Poland's also got a very, very diverse culture of cuisine. Obviously, pierogies are extremely popular, and it's what most people think of Polish food are pierogies. But there are many other kinds of iconic, delicious Polish food, including kielbasa, which is their take on sausage. Um, Golubki, I believe that's Polish. Apologize for my Polish, I'm not that great. Which is meat and rice stuffed cabbage. Bigos, which is a hunter stew. And who can forget, definitely one of the most iconic foods as well. So Poland's got a lot of food, and there's also a lot of holiday meals, and one of them are filled donuts. They're nicknamed taxi, I believe, which is Polish donuts. And it's basically the Polish equivalent to a French beignet. So definitely lots of very popular foods and such as well. And of course, many Poles drink also mead, beer, and vodka are very popular. And speaking of vodka, a lot of people credit Poland as the country that actually invented vodka. Not Russia, but some people consider that Poland is the creator of all vodka. Polish sausages, yep. Kielbasa, definitely very interesting. Zapiekanka, yep. That's one of the other popular things about Polish food, zapiekanka. Zapiekanka. Yep. Zapiekanka basically is Polish pizza, basically. For what it is. That's a very popular street food, and it's been there since the 70s, I believe. Hey, Beemans! Hey, Berlin to Kaliningrad. Yeah, Kaliningrad. Oh, by the way, yeah, Zabrovka. Yeah, in the Junkers too. I know. I still gotta find the central panel light. What? Whoops! I need to change my thing back. Okay. No, you stupid fuel selector. I need to turn it back on. Whoops. That stuff is dangerous, LOL. Yeah, it is dangerous. This stuff is dangerous. Light panel behind the co-pilot seat. Oh, yeah. There's a light panel over here. Unfortunately, it doesn't turn on any of the other cabin lights. The only thing it turns on is like the lav lights. So definitely very interesting. It's literally pitch black. I mean, look at this. It's literally pitch black. I can't even find the overhead light in the retrofit. I think they forgot. Yep. It is extremely. I mean, it's dark. I have a hard time seeing this, and this is what the real pilots had to go through, guys. It is extremely. It's too old. Use flashlight. Yeah. It was bad. That's actually what they had to do back in the day, B-Mints. The tricky flight. That's why thank God for little nav map and all that, so I know exactly where to land. But no, B-Mint, this is actually what they did back in the day. When they did the Berlin to Königsberg flight back in the 20s, this is what they actually had to fly like. They had to have a second navigator to kind of actually get to where you need to go. Because if you don't actually get to do that, there's a chance of dying. But I'm very grateful I'm not actually hand flying this. If anything, I'm extremely lucky that this thing has an autopilot. A bit of a very simple one, but it's still an autopilot. So for that, I am grateful for. Interesting night there, but at 16 hours. Hey, Richard Train has just followed the channel. Richard Train, thank you so much. Welcome. We're flying our way to we're flying away to Kaliningrad now. So we're actually getting our way pretty much there. We're in Poland right now. Here's I'm going to remind you guys, since we can't actually see our landmarks, I'm going to go ahead and pull my nav map. We took off from Tempelhof Airport. If you didn't have the scenery, you could easily take off from Berlin Tegel or Berlin Schofield Airport. And we're going to fly over a bit of Lake Walesey Airport. And then we're going to fly across the Gulf of Gdansk all the way into Kaliningrad Davao Airport. So definitely some interesting things to fly over here for today. Yeah, it's almost 5 p.m. in Berlin. Hey, Martel, good to see you. Welcome, Martel172. It's been a while since I've seen you on my stream. It's great to see you. Purple Cloud and Sky Half Moon Snow. Nice for screenshots. Awesome. Berlin is pitch black. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I finally got this Flight Sim series started. I'm so happy I finally get a chance to fly this series. I'm overjoyed. Hey, Bronzeman, hey, thank you for following. If you guys like this content, don't be afraid to give me the follow button. But I want to actually earn your all's thing as well. You're gonna end where? Let me bring back the nav map. All around the world? No. The real flight, the whole journey. If you guys don't take me a second, let me load this up. This is the whole journey. What this is going to be. Around 5,000 nautical miles from Berlin to Beijing. This is the recreation flight I'm doing, BMint. This is recreating Lufthansa's 1926 Berlin to Beijing journey back in 26. And since the G24 isn't around in the sim, I'm using the next best thing. And I'm taking the JU-52 for that. And using the next best thing. Cool. Definitely a big project. I see Constellation's Big Dipper. Well, here's the thing, Goblin Zeus. This is raining, mind you. So I can't really see anything. I guess I could see one of the I do see some constellations. Oh, I do see some of it up there. Constellations. That is definitely very interesting. I can't really point them out too much. I don't have any constellation stuff or add-ons relating to that. Haha, the sunroof. I know. Yeah, there's the sunroof. I'm not a fan of opening that right now because it's raining outside. But I think it's really interesting. But it's really nice that they added a lot of this for the Junkers. This plane has so much character. There's Martel. I see you out there. It's good for celestial stuff. Remember, in real life, this day's flying took them all the way to Moscow, so they had to take off early. Yep. And mind you, to take this off from Berlin to Moscow would take them. Well, let me go ahead and pull the Moscow airport for flying. Let me go ahead and do this. So, actually, let me go ahead. Yeah, I mean, this is going to take me to get to Moscow 933 nautical miles. Really good plan for the price. I know. JU-52 is amazing for that price. I mean, you get 4 different versions. You get the original version, the floats version, ski version, and also the retrofit version. And speaking of the retrofit version, I want to talk about. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab something. I got 2 books I do want to show you. It's going to be for another journey after this one. Let me go ahead and so this here, I have a whole book on the JU-52 from Lufthansa. This is the Lufthansa JU-52. This is the plane that I'm going to be doing that journey with. This talks about all of Lufthansa's journey. Hazar Umaz with the follow. Thank you so much. What a great day to be here. I see the Kasabua through the sign roof. Oh, yeah, it's hard for me to see. I got the rain. But this here has so much information about the Lufthansa J52. And it even talks about the history of Hugo Junkers with Lufthansa. And then I also got this book, The Saga of Iron Annie, written by Martin Kaiden, a very well-known author and aviator. And he restored the plane known as D Delta Alpha Quebec Uniform India. That plane is the oldest airworthy JU-52. And the reason is that after this journey, I'm going to be doing the restoration flight of that plane from Miami to Hamburg in the retrofit JU-52. And I'm going to be doing that after this, which is going to be incredible. And for that one, and the reason I got these 2 books is because guess what? That's where I'm going to get the research for that from. Martin Kaiden's going to help. This book here is going to help me talk about his restoration of the plane, and then the Lufthansa one will talk about how they officially restored that plane. So that will be quite my future plans as well. So that's just what I wanted to bring to the table to show you all the books. And then after that, I'm also doing some Wednesday streams on Wednesdays at 1700 Zulu. I'll also be doing Wednesday streams. I just like to fly around the world and such. Though I might be doing something else too during that time. So yeah, this is kind of bit how my streams are going to be. But it's great to have all of you here. Thank you for everyone here watching the stream, watching the channel. Seriously, thank you guys so much. I really, really do appreciate everyone here. You're all making things special here for me today. That raid really made my day. Thank you, everyone. But yeah, I am so happy we get to finally... I think I'll call you Yugo after that. Night Zep. Yeah. But yeah, if you want me to do this, so we're actually doing pretty good. I lowered the speed to 122 knots, so we're now doing this at 122. But on that question earlier, B-Mint, for that trip to Moscow, by the way, in modern days it would be 3 hours. Well, in the Junkers it would be 933. So for that, it would have to take me around 9 hours to get through there. 9 hours, which is a pretty insane amount of time. But it just shows you how much aviation and airliners have gone through since. It shows how much that airliners had to go changed in less than 70, 80 years. It's insane how much airlines have changed. It's pretty crazy, to say the least. But yeah, I am super happy that we finally got this done here. So definitely some interesting facts about the Junkers Ju-52. I think some other interesting information that I haven't spoke to yet. So the Ju-52, we all know, was used by civilians as part of the Luftwaffe, by Lufthansa. But the Ju-52 wasn't just flown with civil aviation in mind, and there were a lot of them. I mean, Brazil, there are a lot of aviation services in Brazil. Canada has had some. France, Italy has had them. Poland, Iberia Airlines, but also the military has used them. I mean, this was a very, very well-known plane that was flown by the Luftwaffe as the main cargo and transport plane for the Luftwaffe. The Italians used them. After the war, the French used these post-war. I mean, they were still being used even after the war. In fact, some of these were even used all the way in Papua New Guinea for civil aviation and such. And even still to this day, in limited use, there's still some flying. The oldest airworthy Ju-52, however, is the one that's actually been stored in the museum. And that is Delta Alpha Quebec Uniform India, the oldest airworthy. It was once the oldest airworthy in existence. So definitely a very interesting plane as well. And there's been many different versions. There was one version that was a single engine plane. It was once a single engine plane, and there was one unique version. The Ju-52/3 MHO was one of the more unique versions. And that one was powered by believe it or not, 3 Junkers Juno 205 diesel engines. Now, they only use it for testing. But yes, diesel engines on an airplane. That is kind of a weird one. Who would expect diesel airplane engines? But the Junkers was used to power one of those, believe it or not. French used the Ju-52, they call it the Toucan. Yes, there's actually livery on this in Flight Sim TL. Also, in addition, um, one of the other airworthy Ju-52s, which was A-702, that one was used in the movie Where Eagles Dare, which was from 1968. In fact, I actually have a YouTube channel. There's actually a VOD on this. Um, Actually, let me hold on. I it's on my YouTube channel, and I actually have a YouTube which talks about and it should be on the Where Eagles Dare, and I talked about the Ju-52 a bit more, where the Where Eagles Dare movie would actually be. So definitely a very cool one to check out. I also do have a Discord on here. I think I do have a Discord. I need to update my invite link, but I do actually have a Discord myself. Let me go ahead and just alter the command bit as well. Just let me go on. Just hang on a moment. So, Discord. There. I now updated. Let me pull up my Discord. I do have my own Discord now. So anyone who wants to visit me and get more information about the stream, feel free to check me out on the Discord. And finally, guys, I'm also a really close member with the Two-Tone Murphy Flying Circus. And in that website, we get all Two-Tone Murphy stuff. And it also includes other community members, including 2 new affiliates, being Allison Johnson and Two Cats. So definitely, Two-Tone Murphy's my community. I mean, without Murph's community, I wouldn't be streaming. So I'm being humble enough to say thank you to everyone being here. So we're definitely flying some lower end area here in Poland. So far, we're doing pretty good. We kept on the flight path. The autopilot's working quite well. Now, there's something I do want to talk about this autopilot. This isn't like the autopilot of a modern plane. There's no altitude hold. So in order to do altitude changes, you have to adjust the trim on this thing. Thankfully, this plane trims out really easily, so I don't really have to worry about trimming so much. So it's a really simple and easy way to get this thing handled. So I don't think we're too far from, we're not getting too far from Gdansk right now. I think we're currently flying over Polish countryside. Definitely very, very interesting for sure. Now, usually there are some really interesting animals that live here in Poland. Um, European bison are very common, are quite are pretty well known here in Poland. And Poland's also home to the largest white stork population of all of Europe. And the reason I want to talk about some biology stuff is because I got a biology degree. So I can talk about that sort of stuff as well. Poland's largest river is the Vistula, which is the largest river in all of Poland, and it's the ninth longest in all of Europe. And Poland's tallest point are the Tatra Mountains, located between the border of Slovakia and Poland, and the tallest of which can get to 8,000 feet. The Ju-52 is just a gigantic glider with 3 engines. Oh yeah, and here's something else too about the Ju-52. If you were to disable the 2 engines on the Junkers, if you were to disable one of the engines, let's say if you cut out the central engine, this thing can still fly quite well with only just 2 of the 3 engines. Now, I don't think you can fly with any of the outer ones out, but if the middle one But if the 2-hour ones come out, I believe the center one could still fly. They did this as a safety thing, I believe, about the Ju-52. So definitely a very interesting thing as well. So yeah, definitely a great thing to talk about here today. But yeah, we're making great time here. I don't have to worry about anything else going wrong. So yeah, everything's going so great. I'm really happy. And here's another thing too, like about the Ju-52 in the sim. All the German stuff. This is the star says, but bitte tangon no machine free. Which means this is the starter basically, but they talk about in German. And I know at first, reading all this German seems kind of intimidating, but the more you get familiar with the plane, I think the easier it is for people to get there. And as I think as you saw for the Ju-52, I managed to get this thing started within 10 minutes. In fact, I even did a whole step without even having to check the checklist. But I guess maybe in the future I could probably start it in 5 minutes if I really paid attention to it. Eagles up. Good evening from Belgium. Great to see you. Eagles up. For me in America, this is good morning. Great to see you here. So we're now doing the historical recreation of Lufthansa's 1926 Berlin to Beijing flights. We're doing leg one of the trip. We just took off from Berlin Tempelhof Airport, Echo Delta Delta India, and we're flying to Kaliningrad, which is back in the day it was Königsberg, which is at Uniform Mike Alpha Alpha, and we're also going to be flying a bit over Gdansk, which was back in the day being Danzig. So that's what we've been doing today, Eagles Up. And of course, I'm flying this in the beautiful Asobo Ju-52, one of my favorite planes in the sim, if not my favorite plane in the sim to fly. It's just an absolute joy. The German labels are quite useful and understandable. Yep, surprisingly, I actually have a pretty easy time understanding the German labels for the most part, which makes sense because a lot of English has a lot of German influence because English is a Germanic language. It's just that English, because of the French, modern English also has a lot of Latin stuff. So modern English is kind of interesting as well. Definitely a very interesting thing to point out here. Now there were quite a few similar developments. So very similar planes like the Junkers. The DC-3 is obviously the Allied version comparison to the Allied. This is like the Allied equivalent to the Ju-52 in a sense. There's also the iconic Ford trimotor. And then there's also the Fokker F7 that's going to come out in World Update 7, which is going to come out next month. We're going to have the Fokker F.7. Very, very iconic plane that was flown by the legendary Charles Kingsford Smith. That's going to come next month, and I'm going to be very excited to give that plane a try. I love all things vintage and bush planes, so this would be a very, very welcome fit. So yeah, I'm very excited to see more vintage planes come to the sim. And of course, I'm also waiting for the Antonov AN2. I want to have a Russian plane for the sim, so that would be. I'm hoping that would be really good too. Yeah, I'm. Now, if you're wondering why, again, for some of those who weren't there earlier who just got in, so if you wondered why we've flown off and there's rain nearly everywhere, well, the reason was that because, well, we're in the middle of night and it's raining. So naturally, we have to deal with lots of rain. Well, let's see here. Our field's doing pretty good. You could definitely make this flight quite easy with the 122 as well. So, the J-52 is too slow for use in military. Yeah, that was the issue, because this plane was built in 1930. It was completely outclassed. But it was still really good as a transport plane. As a transport plane, the Ju-52 was still really good as a, like, not a frontline transport plane, but a, like, reserve one. The Ju-52 is more than capable. It could take off on short, uneven runways. In fact, that ability to take off in some of the rough runways made it quite a useful plane, especially for backcountry stuff. I mean, it was used even in Papua New Guinea, so there's no worry about that. But yeah, I love the J-52. I'm just happy we finally got this plane in the sim. Now I'm just hoping for another really. I'm hoping this will make their own DC-3 though, at least. So another interesting fact is that Poland is actually bordered. To the west, it's bordered by Germany. To the south, it's bordered by Czechia and Slovakia. To the east, it's bordered by Ukraine, Belarus, and Lithuania. And into the north, it was also bordered by Russia, actually. And if you wonder why Russia exactly borders Poland, well, Kaliningrad, in its own oblast, was located above Poland. So yeah, Poland's got quite a few nations bordering it. Poland's national language is obviously Polish, which is one of the Slavic languages, in particular the West Slavic language. And unlike other Slavic languages, Polish is written in the Latin script, not in the Cyrillic used by other Slavic languages. And there's actually 32 letters in the Polish alphabet. And in addition to the normal 26 letters, they also added other letters too. And one of the unique things about modern Polish is it has strict TV distinctions, which is basically different pronouns to involve different honorifics and various formalities. Polish has had a very long history and tradition, as Poland geographically has been extremely varied throughout history, but it's been much more it's been much more homogenous in modern times. In Polish, good day is dzień dobry. Is Polish for good day. Zizek means hello. And there's even many English words that have been translated from Polish as well. And some of the English loanwords from Polish is fishing rod as well. In fact, spruce has been one of the English words. Spruce actually just comes from the Polish name as well. Polish is a real tongue twister. It is. It's definitely very interesting as well. Definitely try to do some interesting Polish learns. I'm like I said, I want to learn more about things as well, and I think flight sim is a really good way to do that. So in Polish, yes, the English word yes in Polish is talk. No, no in Polish is the word ni. It was just ne. Okay, in Polish is actually no. And so definitely some interesting things as well. Um, thank you is is the word dziękuję, which is thank you. Dziękuję, which is Polish. Definitely some. These are just basic stuff, but for people traveling to Poland, you probably need to learn some of this language stuff as well. Oh, Polish. Um, please, crochet, crochet, Viperstrike. Yep, please, Viperstrike. Crochet, Viperstrike. Yep, that's right, Martel. Crochet. Yep, definitely very interesting to talk about. I want to ask you all in the chats, how's y'all's weekend been? I know for me this past weekend, I've been helping my younger sister and husband move to their new house. So I've been doing some lifting and such. I lifted some heavy stuff and just helped them get moved into their brand new house. So I want to ask you all in the chat is how's everything been for this weekend? I know some of you have some interesting things in the chats. If you guys don't feel like it, don't worry about it. I don't have to know everything, but I'm just hoping that you're all are having so far a great weekend. Viper, I will find a place to land now. I got stuff to do. But what a great start to the Enterprise. Good night, everyone. Hey, good night. Good night, Nights Up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping me get this started. Good night, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. Nights Up. Take care, and have a great rest of the night. Goblin Zeus, just resting, flying, reading, seeing the first episode, season 6 of The Expanse. Ah, nice. I never seen that one yet. I hope that's any good as well. Let's check what time it is. It's 1:32 a.m. Now, in the notes, I have the notes with me. First dawn over Palmyra, then passing Gatsneck. So, I guess when we hit to Gatsneck, we are going to The Expanse is one of the most fabulous science fiction series I've ever saw and read. Very credible stuff in space. Ah, nice. That's really cool. I really do appreciate it. I mean, the science fiction series I like to watch a lot. Um, Back when I was younger, I did watch a lot of Star Wars when I was a little kid, but I don't do as much now with movies. So that's just me, and that's just how I kind of am right now. I'm doing more flights and such. So now I want to talk about some information about the man who designed the J-52 and all that. So Hugo Junkers was born in Prussia back in 1885 at the place of Rheidt in the Rhine province of Prussia. Now, during that time, he worked at his father's company as a son of a wealthy industrialist. And he became a study of engineering back in 1883. And Junkers himself, during that time, founded and patented a calorimeter and founded his own manufactured company in 1892. And he presented that calorimeter at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, which is a war fair where he was awarded a gold medal. And then that next year in 1894, he patented a gas-fired bath boiler, which he refined later as a tankless heater. And he founded his own company, Junkers and Company, to utilize his inventions. But his aeronautical work didn't really get a start until 1909 at the brand Heath, which is located in that town. And he built a plane equipped with correlated iron wings built by Junkers and Company. And they were patented just 1 year later. And he built his own wind tunnel and invented his own hydraulic brake. His ideas were far-sighted at the time, with metal aeroplanes and flying wings. But the necessities of war originally held him back. However, during World War I, he helped produce one of the most influential planes at the time, the world's very first all-metal aircraft in 1918, the Junkers D.1, the world's first all-metal aeroplane to enter service. This prototype flew in 1917. 41 of them have been built, and during tests while they lacked maneuverability, this was the beginning of the modern era of all aviation. And most planes to this day now are made of metal and not of wood. So Junkers was kind of been proven right. After the war, he then designed his first all-metal transport aircraft, the Junkers F-Model 13, F.13, the world's first all-metal transport plane. It was in production for 13 years with 322 built. It wasn't a particularly fast plane. I mean, it only went 93 knots top speed. It only cruised at 86. But for the time, this was a complete game changer. This was a game changer for all the aircraft during the time. And of course, this thing was a very popular plane because it can also be converted to floats really easily. And that's what made this plane very influential. And it later inspired Junkers to make all sorts of different planes. The G-24, and then probably his magnum opus and his greatest design, the J-52. However, he wouldn't stay there for much of the 1930s because of the rise of the Nazi Party. He was forced out of the company and had to give up all his patents to the Nazis, unfortunately, which is a real shame in himself. And the reason was that Hugo Junkers was a socialist and he was a pacifist and he disagreed with the Nazis. and only 2 years later he passed away at his own home, which is a real shame because Hugo Junkers made a lot of great aviation stuff in Germany. And thankfully though, his legacy was still very big in aviation as well. In the 1976, Hugo Junkers was inducted to the International Air and Space Hall of Fame in San Diego, alongside other iconic aviation geniuses during that time, like Igor Sikorsky and Boeing as well. So definitely a very iconic man, and I definitely want to talk a little bit more about it as well. Hey, Captain Erling, good to see you. Welcome. Nice to see you, Captain Erling. Thank you for coming by the channel and my stream. Thank you. Thanks for coming. So I'm right now doing the Berlin to Beijing historical recreation flights, and we're in leg one of the trip right now. We're flying from Berlin to Kaliningrad. Captain Erling, thank you for the follow. But as I said earlier, Berlin to Kaliningrad will be our first leg of the trip. We'll be flying over Gdansk as well. Yeah, I think Junkers was a pretty good man, especially considering that a lot of his aviation stuff was very, very popular. And he greatly changed the aviation world through civil aviation. His planes built, he helped build the design that as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and if you want to, Captain Merlin, we're doing a night flight in the Junkers, which isn't a very easy thing to do, to say the least. Change the autopilot. So definitely very interesting as well. There's Martel, there's Zep. Double across Flordrix. There's Druid Zeus. There's everyone here. Thanks. I appreciate all you guys flying with me right now. Oh, there's also one more thing I gotta turn on. Gotta turn on the lane lights. Where? Which one of these is the landing lights? I'm not hearing sim sounds. Oh! My application sound are very quiet. I had to turn down the music. I think I know what it is. I had to turn them down quietly because normally I didn't want to turn them too loud. I'm gonna pause this for a second so I can actually have some sounds and see if that would work. There. There. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. Look at the sound of those engines, man. Those BMW horsepower. That sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, that sounds incredible. Yeah, what a lovely bird. Hell yeah. Heck yeah. Okay, that's amazing. I see that Two-Tone Murphy's somewhere lurking as a moderator. But yeah, so many amazing people. Like I said, Captain Rash, thank you for the raid. I mean, this is what a great start to the journey already. And I got way more planned coming up. It's gonna be amazing. So I do have a follower goal. We only need 5 more to get 180. So I want to get to that goal. I'm hoping by the end of the month, I'm hoping I can get 200, which would be amazing. But this journey would be a great way to do so. And I mean, it is just really amazing for everyone being here. Thank you so much. I see Katzef, Druid Zeus, Martel, and Count Zep. I see some of you all down over here. Now, mind you guys, when the German aviators flew this in 1926, there was no little nav map. So they had to actually do their own separate directions and accounting. And I don't believe the runways during that time were even lined up. So this is going to be a pretty tricky landing, if you ask me. Very, very tricky landing. So once we reach Gdansk, I'm going to change the time to be dawn, because I'm going to reference that in the notes. The notes say I have to turn the dawn. During that time. So we're not that far off. I mean, let's see in my nav map. Okay, we're 40 nautical miles away from Gdansk right now. What time of year have you set the sim to? I said to December 21, but I guess I could. So June 24th. Okay, I can't actually go back to 1926, so I just said the 2021. But June 24th, we are getting near Gdansk, so we're gonna change the time to dawn. So 3:48, we're gonna begin our period of dawn. So I'm changing the time to match my notes. June 24th looks much nicer. The sun is peeking up. Yes, it's still raining though. I'm gonna trim down a little. Try to keep it within 2,000, 3,000 feet. I don't want to get this thing to a steady decline. Yeah, it's actually coming up now. It's just it's because it's still going to be raining, however. Now, down over here, this thing has different VOR frequencies and such. You can actually set the VORs here on the J52, but I don't think we can do that here. I don't think back then in 1926 they did VOR stuff. So if they did, I would have probably incorporated it on the journey. But I guess we don't really have any of that. So. Are the constellations stars and modeled to respect time and position? That's a good question. Good question. As someone who doesn't really know space aviation, there. Pretty much yes, says Fordrix. Okay. Yeah, I don't know really a lot about that sort of thing myself. So yeah, turns out it is. So the city we're going to be heading to next is going to be the place known as Gdansk. Now, back in the day, this was originally a place called Danzig. Now, Gdansk is basically located in the Baltic coast of northern Poland. With a population of 470,000, it's the capital largest city of the Pomeranian Voivodeship, which is basically province of Poland. It's the primary seaport of the country, and it's the fourth largest metropolitan area of all of Poland. Only ones being bigger in Poland would be Warsaw. I think the biggest ones in Poland for the city. I know Warsaw is the capital and largest city of all of Poland. Then after that, the next biggest part about Poland, definitely one of the larger things. Let me see. So basically, I think Poland would be that. I think it's by Warsaw. Gdansk is number 4. Warsaw's the biggest. Then Lodz is the second biggest, I believe. Lodz is the third largest city in Poland, and I think the second largest is, if I were to take a guess, I believe the second largest is Lublin. Yeah, Lublin's number 2. This is why you can do celestial navigation. Yeah, speaking about navigation, yes. I know Captain Rash was using that earlier today from New York to Bermuda. And Captain Seppi's doing celestial navigation on his own Pan Am series as well. Though I never would think about doing this in the Junkers probably. They could have done it, but the weather conditions were so bad they couldn't really use it. Now Gdansk has a very rich history, as it was actually one of the major ports since the days of the Prussian era. And during the time it was ruled by Polish, Prussia, German, and even during the 1920s to 30s, it was a free city-state. Yes, it was a free city-state. It was in 1361 it became a member of the Hanseatic League, which was a major league of commercial, defensive, confederation, and merchant guilds. From 1918 to 1939, Gdansk laid in the disputed Polish corridor between Poland and Germany. And that was a pretty major contention during that time for both countries. Now, there are so many iconic landmarks. Gdansk is home to many of them, including the Museum of World War II, which talks about World War II, but in the history of the Polish. St. Dominic's Fair has been hosted here in the city since 1260. and is located as one of the biggest trade and cultural events of all of Europe. And it's also got the historic city center, one of the iconic historic areas of Poland. Now, some notable people include Johannes Hevelius, who, by the way, is a philosopher and scientist, I believe. Dariusz Michalewski, one of the great Polish boxers, was a multi-time champion in many different leagues and circuits. And Gunter Grass, who is a German filmmaker that was born in Gdansk during that time. Now Gdansk is also home to an airport. We're going to be flying over the airport, the city's main airport, that being Gdansk Walsall Airport, which is Poland's third busiest airport by traffic. It was opened back in 1919, and this airport. Oh, I lost connection. Now, this airport was served as part of the Berlin to Königsberg air route, so they actually had to fly from here. The first Polish route served was between Gdansk, Warsaw, and Lviv in 1922. But Gdansk was extremely important as it was a springboard for many other routes, including Warsaw, Berlin, Moscow, and Königsberg, and other important cities in the region. So definitely a very important airport as well. Currently, the airport serves many different airlines, including Poland's national airline service, LOT Polish Airlines, but also serves Lufthansa, Ryanair, Wizz Air, which is the main Hungarian airline, and more. Which is definitely a very interesting thing to talk about as well. So other sites located in this historic city center include the John III Sobieski Monument, which of course honors the Polish King John III Sobieski, who is the Polish king between 1640s and such. One of Poland's iconic kings. As well as the Polish post office and such. So definitely some very interesting stuff as well. So I think we're getting near Gdansk right now. I think we are getting very much near it. And I see Dougal in front of us. Hello, Dougal. I'm going to reset the autopilot back to in preparation of heading to 68. So we're going to get there as well. Oh man, what a sight. Holy crap, all of you. Martel, Flordrix, Druid Zeus, Martel 738, and I see Dougal McTavish ahead of me. Holy crap, you all. Yeah, I was expecting to have all those people fly with me today, but thank you. You can even get partial clips from the sun to chase with the astronomical almanac or application sky maps. Oh, that's sweet. Wasn't John III working who stopped the Turks in Vienna? Yep, that's him. That's the Polish king that was involved in the Battle of Vienna. Yep, he was the Polish king that was during the Battle of Vienna. He was quite a very successful military prowess, and he established himself as one of the main leading figures of Poland-Lithuania. Yep. He was one of the great Polish kings. So a couple other things about Poland that I think there's a couple more interesting facts about the Polish. Polish Poland has such a great influence for much of the world. And more than people think, Poland's culture and stuff is deep. And as a result, there's been a lot of people that actually the Polish philosophy has had a big deal during the time, especially during the 20th century as well. And 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 there's actually an official term for people who respect and follow Poland's culture is known as a Polonophile, which there are many different parts of Poland that Polish culture that's celebrated around the world. And there's been quite a few areas that have had strong ties with modern Poland, actually. Without a doubt, though, the closest relations that Poland's had historically has actually been with Hungary. Poland and Hungary have had great relations since the Middle Ages, and so much so there's almost a sense of brotherhood between Poland and Hungary, to the point that there's actually a popular saying, Poland and Hungarian brothers be, which is the Polish version. If you're Hungarian, it's Poland and Hungarian, two good friends. And those two have been together for centuries. Polish and Hungarian traditions have even been popular even to modern interests. They have a lot of common interests, and their friendship has been strong, even during the Second World War. Hungary never even invaded Poland out of their respect of their relationship and such. And Hungary has even been one of the closest allies. The United States is a really interesting relations as well. The U.S. and Poland have quite a bit of a connection because two of Poland's great military soldiers and stuff, Tadeusz Kościuszko and Casimir Pulaski, helped fought for U.S. independence. In fact, Casimir Pulaski in particular is the father of American cavalry, and his name has been even on his own holiday, which is extremely cool to think about. And there are so many Polish Americans and such as well. So definitely very popular and such as well. And not to mention, there have been millions of Polish Americans. Around almost 10 million, to be exact, have had Polish heritage. The largest community, thus, is Chicago. And that's greatly influenced a lot of that, too. So basically what I say is that Poland is a country with lots of history, lots of very proud history. And I think Poland never gets the respect I think it deserves for internationally and cultural reasons. So right here is Gdansk. So we're getting near the city center. So I'm going to go ahead and turn. Now, down over here, let me go ahead and pull this up, is the international airport to our left. Let me go ahead and change. Let me get on my showcase cam. Talk about. So we're not going to land at the international airport. We're just using it as a waypoint. We're not going to land in Gdansk. We're just going to actually So we're not going to land. There are also lots of Polish French. Yep, Poland has a large population of French, and French-Polish relations have been going back, way back since the Kingdom of France days. In fact, Poles and French were evolved during the Napoleonic era. Oh, I see someone in a T6 Texan. I wonder who that might be in a T6 Texan. Not a bad pick here today. So guys, down here should be the international airport. This is good. This is like a Wellesley International Airport down over here. So that should be one of our international airports down over here. There's Dougal. Yeah, you're the Texan. Nice choice. Texan's a great choice. And now we're heading to Gdansk. Temporarily. I had to reset the autopilot. The autopilot was going pretty crazy, so I had to reset it. So over here is Gdansk downtown. Oh yeah, it's looking great out here today. What a beautiful sight here in Poland. So I'm going to check my fuel situation, and we are still doing quite good, 66%. We still got plenty of fuel left for the trip. So there is Gdansk down over here. Now, another interesting thing about the place, Gdansk, as well, is there's also home to the Baltic Concert Hall, located as one of the iconic landmarks. And Gdansk is often the twin city with other ones, including Kaliningrad in Russia, the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, St. Petersburg, Russia, Nice, France, and Cleveland, Ohio are also twin cities. And also Gdansk cooperates with the city of Marseille, which I know Goblin Zeus is from around this area. This is just. Let me go. I'm going to take the screenshot. That is amazing. Holy crap. There. That is just stunning. Holy crap. So now we're going to go across the Bay of Gdansk, and we're going to head our way to Kaliningrad, Russia. Yes, Kaliningrad is actually Russia, believe it or not. So this would be the final part of today's slideshow thing as well. So Kaliningrad, it used to be called, until 1946, it was called Königsberg. So Kaliningrad is the largest city of its own oblast named the Kaliningrad Oblast. It has a population of 489,359 residents. The settlement was first founded in 1255. It's been going through many different times during that time. It was once the original capital of the Prussian monarchy until 1701 when it was moved to Berlin. It used to be part of the state of the Teutonic Order, which was a crusader state, the Duchy of Prussia, in East Prussia until 1701. It was damaged during the Allied bombing in 1944 and the Battle of Königsberg in 1945, when it was captured by the Soviet Union. And if you wonder how Russia exactly got in the city, well, it was signed by the Potsdam Agreement in August 1st, 1945. it is now part of Russia since, and it was renamed to Kaliningrad in honor of Soviet revolutionary Mikhail Kalinin. Since the dissolution, it is governed by the administration center of the oblast. The city is a major transport hub and is the headquarters of the Russian Navy's Baltic Fleet and is one of the largest centers of all Russia industrially. It's also considered, it was 3 times the best city of Russia in 2012 through 2014. And it was one of the host cities of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Now, some landmarks include the Königsberg Cathedral, the Fort 9 Donhof, and King's Gate are all landmarks located in Kaliningrad. And obviously, one of its most famous people, if not its most famous individual, is Immanuel Kant. And for guys who don't know who Immanuel Kant is, he is a very famous philosopher. He was a German philosopher and one of the main central Enlightenment thinkers. His works in epistemology, metaphysics, ethics have made him one of the most influential figures in modern Western philosophy. And it was thanks to his doctrine of transcendentalism idealism. And his theory led to modern day philosophy. And it's still felt even to this day. So that is Kaliningrad in a nutshell. So that is Kaliningrad. There you go. And that is the end of the slideshow. So all we have to do is get across to Kaliningrad Duval Airport. So we'll be going through downtown Kaliningrad. So definitely that will be the end of today's journey. This is actually a pretty short journey compared to some of the other ones we'll take. There will be other journeys that would take considerably longer. But seriously, this has been an amazing stream. I was not expecting to be doing this well. Now a bit more about Kaliningrad. Definitely one of the more interesting things is that there's been a lot of questions of what to do with the territory after Russia. And it's because this is actually isolated from the rest of Russia. Because let me pull up the little map to see what I'm talking about. Let me pull up the map. The issue for Kaliningrad is it's so isolated from the rest of Russia because it's separated by borders between Poland and Lithuania, and here's the rest of Russia, and here's Russia. That has been a major issue for the place for quite a while since the 90s. So in order to actually transport supplies and stuff between Kaliningrad and the rest of Russia, they had to have special travel arrangements through the Facilitated Transmit Document and FRTDs. There's also a political thing called the. I wasn't really aware of that. That was quite a short distance to Kaliningrad. Yep. Yeah, it's actually a pretty short distance. 70 miles isn't actually that far of a distance, to be quite honest. It's actually been pretty short. Now, there's been some discussion about Kaliningrad, especially after with the EU. There's some people that want to think about Russia should give it to either make it in. There's a question of what to do with Kaliningrad politically. There's a couple positions they would take there, but there are really four major positions that people would take. Either Kaliningrad's independent as a Baltic state. There are some political groups favor it being part of Lithuania. There's some that wants it to be part of Poland, actually, and then there's a really, and there's even some French groups even claiming to be part of Germany, want to return it back to Germany. The only issue for that not being able to get back in German hands is one of the agreements back in the 90s that sealed the borders between Poland and Germany, and that was probably a major issue. But there's been a lot of official positions what to do with it. Officially, though, there's not really any interest in Germany to recover the Oblast. Poland has no claim on it either, as well, and I don't think very many in Lithuania would think so too. So it's a very interesting question to think about for the future. For the foreseeable future, it looks like it to be Russian, but we don't know in the future what that territory is going to be. But yeah, this has been an amazing journey, and we're not very far off of it either. We're still getting through the Gulf of Gdansk a bit. Now, the Gulf here only has a depth of 120 meters, which is around 400, which is around 360 feet. It doesn't have very much salinity in the water. But yeah, it's beautiful out here today. What a nice flight. Definitely as well. I'm going to play a bit of music, if you guys don't mind. Don't worry, this is copyright-free music. I don't have to worry about it. Just some chill, nice, relaxing music as we now enjoy for the rest of this flight. So now we're getting pretty close to here. I think I can already see some land here. So I think we see some of the lagoons and such in the area as well. There are many different lagoons around the area as well. Just listen to some nice chill stuff for a bit. Just take mine off the light a little. Though eventually I would like to get some Epidemic Sound stuff to play more often and allow me to play music more often. But that's just what I want to wait and see for it as well. So I'm going to be back in just a sec. I'm going to go ahead and take a bit of a... I got a bit of a bio break. So this would be pretty nice to fly for the rest. So see you guys in a second. I'm back. All right. I'm back. So we're almost into Kaliningrad now. We should begin there soon. So the plan is once we land, I'm thinking about raiding B-Mint. She was on the chat earlier, and I think we should probably raid her channel. And I think that would be really good if we get to raid B-Mint for today. That's my plan for after this. Watch out for MiGs. We're entering Russian airspace. Yeah. Actually, we're landing the Kaliningrad airport, the Kaliningrad Deval airport. I don't think we were landing anything in the military, thankfully. Now, the airport we're going to be landing here today is Kaliningrad Deval Airport. Now, it's currently a small GA airfield, but it was actually opened all the way back in 1919. And the first flight from first route was inaugurated in May 1st of 1922 from Berlin to Moscow, and they actually had to land here in Königsberg. It was the first international air connection of the Soviet Union, and it provided the joint Soviet-German airline known as Durluft. And from 1926, it was also used by Dutch Lufthansa, which set the first night flying connection between Königsberg and Berlin, as well as air links to Tilsit and Memo, both located. Tilsit located in the Oblast, which is the small town, and Memo is located in Lithuania. the third largest city in all Lithuania. However, after World War II, it was discontinued in favor as the main airport and being replaced by Karabrovo Airport. But parts of the original main building still exist here today and is used by the Kaliningrad Sport Aviation Club. Currently, there's also an Antonov AN-2 airport parked in there as well on the site. There's only one runway. It's a gravel runway that's around 4,593 feet long. Thankfully, this plane should easily land. Considering this thing can land on, I can manage to land this in strips at almost around 1,000 feet. At nearly less than 1,000 feet. I don't think landing this Junkers is going to be an issue. Landing this isn't very difficult. I'm pretty much a pro with this thing, so. So yeah, we're entering Kaliningrad as well. Let's see who's still on my wing. I still see Dougal McTavish, Martel, Stumble Across, Voyagers, Druid Seuss are still in the air with me. This is still amazing. All those people are going to fly with me. I'm happy to finally do an historical journey once again. In fact, Allison was the main person who even inspired me to be streaming, and she did those historical flights, and I said, I want to do something of my own. And this is what it led to, and I'm very happy for it. So we're now going to fly over the Vistul Lagoon, which is located around the area of Kaliningrad. This lagoon is located on the Baltic Sea. It's 56 miles long and 6 to 15 miles wide, and it's around 17 feet deep. This area is an endangered important bird area in Poland. There should be Kaliningrad straight ahead. So now the weather should be mostly cleared up by now. Yeah, what a stunning morning. What a beautiful flight, that's for sure. So we're going to land on runway 01, which is going to be our airport. Let me pull it up. So in our airport, we're going to land on runway 01. Yeah, this has been an absolutely crazy flight. I'm super happy with this. I'm looking forward to the next legs of your project. Thank you so much, Martel. I really appreciate it. Very nice flight, chat, and scenery. Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed this chat. I really want to thank everyone here for coming by, for accompanying me on this flight. Even if you're not flying with me now, the chat has been wonderful. I want to thank everyone. This is incredible, and I can't wait to do more of these legs in the future. This is. Go ahead. Hey, bug. Turn the Honeybug a bit more. It's clear how much you put effort to your research. Great work, Viper. Thank you. And one more thing, guys, in the chats, I will keep updating this whole PowerPoint, this whole slideshow. I'm going to keep updating it for each and every single leg. So I'll continue this in all one big slide. And that would talk about each of the stuff I'm going to talk about as well. And I'll keep talking about the next distance and such. So yeah, I want to keep putting all this work and effort. I want to do this as my job as a content creator, is to put the work and effort to my products. I may not be streaming the most often like some people, but instead I want to put work into making high quality streams to the best of my ability. So those words are always greatly appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, what a beautiful view today. And now we're heading to Kaliningrad. So this is absolutely just gorgeous. we're now going to approach Kaliningrad now. The sun is beautiful. I put the sun a little higher. The sun is beautiful. Oh yeah. So we're now headed into the city of Kaliningrad. We're heading right into one of the iconic ports. We're going through the Agulia River. So yeah, this has been amazing, everyone. So welcome to Kaliningrad, aka if this was back in 1926, welcome to Königsberg, everyone. We're entering into the city now. But I'm in real weather. June 21st, the clouds seem different. Well, I set it into the rain preset, Goblin Zeus. I put it as the rain preset because, well, because I wanted to make it more true to the weather that was originally in the notes Seth gave me. So I had to set it in the rain. But now we're entering downtown Kaliningrad. You know what? It's time for me to take this off the autopilot, so I'm going to go ahead and disable my autopilot. I don't need it anymore. So I can take over the rest from here. And one of the nice things about the Junkers is because this thing is just really easy to trim and fly. It's a really easy plane. I could have hand flown this, but I would much rather just keep it into its autopilot, and now I can spend more of the time chatting with you all. I'm going to go ahead and lower my altitude a bit. Just start descending a little. So this here is Kaliningrad in Russia. Yes, Russian naval base. Yeah, there's lots of Russian naval bases. I mean, that's where Russia's Baltic Fleet is at. Now, for a lot of people wonder, why did Russia get this in the Baltics? Well, the reason was because previously, the Baltic base in Russia was located in St. Petersburg, or at the time was Leningrad. So, by having a naval base in Kaliningrad during the time of the Soviet Union, they could better defend their naval areas. However, as of now, this might have even potentially been a mistake. Just because it's now so isolated. Just definitely very odd to say for the least. So Devol, let's see if I can find Devol Airport somewhere. I think it's over here somewhere. Yeah, Devol's down here. It's right here. Found it. I'm going to go ahead and put some flaps. I think 2 stage of flaps would be pretty good. Like I said, 3,153 feet should be enough runway in the Yonkers. It should be enough for it. I'm going to go ahead and lower the engine a bit. Now, do keep in mind, without all this weight, the Ju-52 can be a bit floaty, so I need to be pretty careful when landing this thing. Let me see. Runway's down over here. I'm going to go ahead and pull all the flaps. So we're going to get down here. Here's going. Using it to bleed off as much speed as I can. I'm just doing this to bleed off a bit of speed. Just bleed it off a little. There she is. There's the gravel. Should be a good landing. In. Got it. And she's down. Yay, we got it. That's awesome. Yay, I got it. That's a nice... It's a gravel strip, Dougal. It's gravel. 4,000 feet of gravel, Dougal McTavish. So I'm going to park right here. I'm going to see everyone else get their chance to land down over here. So let's see everyone else here gets the chance to land here at Kaliningrad Duval Airport. There's Stumbled Across. There's Druid Zeus. Yeah, it's a thin dirt strip, but I mean, it's not that bad of a run. I've landed in way worse strips than Duval. There's Druid Zeus. This is something I also copy a lot from Two-Tone Murphy. This is watching all the landings. I want to see them all. All right, let's see. Stumble Across in the Yonkers. Let's see if he can pull off the landing. And oh, that was pretty good. Get a good stop. Make sure you don't be afraid to pull the nose up a bit, because pull the nose down, because yeah, but you're down still. Good. My tip of landing the Yonkers: put the nose down, because if you don't, that plane could get quite a floatiness. And there's Dougal in the T6 Texan, a very nice choice at the time. Nicely done, Dougal. That's a smooth landing in the Texan. There's Floydrix in a Boeing. Why are you doing an Airbus, Floydrix? What plane do you have? Because I don't think I have the plane you have. And then there is Martel in a Bonanza. Oh, you have the T6 Hawk. Ooh. From Just Flight. Yeah, the Hawk. Good choice. That's a good plane. Oh, the Hawk. Okay. Makes sense. I don't have it. And there's Druid Zeus. Come on, Zeus. Come on, Goblin. You got this, man. Had to catch up in the last airport. No worries. Here is Zeus. Come on, Goblin. You got this. And oh, you got it down. Hey, everyone's here. This is awesome. Nicely done, everyone. All these are good landings, everyone. Seriously, this was a great stream. What an awesome day. Welcome to Kaliningrad Duval Airport in Kaliningrad. This has seriously been an amazing flight. I'm going to go ahead and get a picture of all of you guys here. Once we get a picture of everyone, I'll show off next week's flight plan. I'm going to recap what's going to happen next week, and then we're going to go rebeam it. So this is going to be pretty epic to say for the least. Let me. So let me go, and I got a picture of all of you. So I got my picture. I'm going to put it in my Discord. Okay, so next week, we're going to be flying from Next week, we're going to fly from Kaliningrad. We're going to fly into Lithuania, Latvia, into Belarus, and we'll be getting to Smolensk in Russia. So we're going to be doing quite a bit. I had to get rid of the weird weather, lots of fog. No worries, Goblin Zeus. But that is going to be next week's plan. We're going to be flying through four countries now. We're going to be flying to four different countries: Russia, Lithuania, Latvia, and all that. I mean, it's going to be crazy because next week is going to be this. We're going to be flying through Kaliningrad, Lithuania, a bit of Latvia, Belarus, and finally Russia. So it's going to be a bit of a longer one than the last one. It's going to be quite long, but it's going to be quite an enjoyable flight. And seriously, thank you everyone who's come here today. Thank you Kazaki Flyer for the amazing raid. Thank you to Night Zep, Stumbled Across, Richard Train, Bronze Nan, Hazar Umaz, and Captain Early with all the follows on today's stream. Thank you guys so much for this amazing stream. What a great way to start my new journey on the channel. Thank you everyone so much. So we're going to get ready and prepare to raid Beamit today. Let's raid her channel. And I hope all of you have a rest of a fantastic weekend. Seriously, thank you everyone. This was fun. This was a very fun and entertaining flight. So take care everyone and have a fantastic rest of the weekend. Viperstrike, out.